Today, I'm going to show you how to shoot a silky smooth photo with water flowing over rocks on a bright sunny day using a relatively low shutter speed without overexposing the image. I've been asked the question many times before, how do you get that silky smooth kind of waterfall or water over rocks coming from a creek type image? And if you're doing it at night or as the sun sets or maybe when the sun rises, you have a better shot of doing it without any additional help. But if it's broad daylight, how do you make that happen? So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to talk to you about how you can make that happen. One thing you're going to need, one thing I would advise anyway, that makes it incredibly helpful is a neutral density filter, and that's what I have right here. Now, there are different types of neutral density filters that are out there on the market, and I've done my research and I've used different ones over the years. This one is a variable filter. So what this means is that when this filter slides onto your lens, the top of this filter, it'll rotate just like this right here. And as it rotates, it can go from min to max. Now, filters will differ depending on what type you get regarding how much light that they'll block out. In this case, this will block out anywhere from 2 to 8 stops of light. Now, this is the Zomi filter, and I really like Zomi. I've used different products from Zomi before, and I've been very, very happy with them. Now, what's unique about this filter from Zomi is that this contains shot glass. Now, I'm not talking about the shot glass that you might use to do shots with, but this is Auto Shot. The person's name is Auto Shot. So if you don't know anything about Shot or Mr. Shot, do a little bit of research and you'll find some very interesting information and factoids out there. The thing that I'm most impressed with is the quality of glass. And Mr. Shot had formed a partnership with Mr. Zeiss, Carl Zeiss. And if you're a photo buff at all, you'll know that Carl Zeiss is a maker of high quality glass in various lenses that are on the market today. So the glass that is in this filter right here is from Auto Shot. And this glass is no exception to quality. It is awesome. Now, one thing I want you to note about variable lenses is that all variable lenses have a min and a max. And so what this means is that when you go to the maximum limit, there is no stop on the lens or the filter. It will rotate past the maximum. What happens if you rotate past max? If you think that you go to max and you're getting 8 stops and you think, well, I'll go further so I can get 9 or 10, it doesn't work like that. What actually happens is that you get an X-shaped shadow on your photo. And I'm going to show you what that looks like because I think it'll help you to know what to look for when you exceed the maximum limitation of any variable filter. So, and again, this is on all of them. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like right now. I took a picture of the sky intentionally exceeding the maximum capabilities of the neutral density filter, and it's easy to see the X pattern shadow that forms on the image. So now you know what it looks like when you exceed the maximum limitation of your variable filter. One thing I want to note about the Zomi, if you're interested in a variable filter and a high quality glass, I'll post a link in the description below so you know what this lens is and specifically what I'm using. But what I want you to note is that, and I don't think you'll be able to see it on the video, but it says max and it's got a little arrow that points down right here. And you line them up and basically that's supposed to be the maximum that you can leverage on this filter. What I've discovered is that when you're at the max, you'll still get the X. So what I like to do with this particular filter is just dial it back just a little bit. And when you dial this back, you'll find that you have a sweet spot as far as the extreme darkness that this filter will offer. So it's just something to think about, something to keep in mind. So with all that said, let's go ahead and jump right in and let's just do some testing and I'll show you exactly how this works. I've got my Nikon D7000 with me, and this is the 18-200 zoom lens. This measures 72 millimeter on the end. So my Zomi ND variable filter here is 72 mil. So I'm going to go ahead and just screw this on. All right, so this is on now, and it's nice, nice and snug. And again, I'm not sure how well we can see this on the video, so we'll have to just kind of play with this. But there is a notification right here. I don't know how well we can see that. And then the dial on the top reads max right here, and all the way down here is my minimum setting. So, you know, it's bright out right now. We have a few clouds up, and what I have off to the side, which I'm going to show you in a minute, it's more like a waterfall. It's at the entrance to a neighborhood, so they have some kind of big stone and rock where the water's coming down on it, and I think it'll, it's really a good setup for what we're trying to do. So again, we got the filter in place right here. The other thing I have with me is my Gorilla pod right here. So this is a Gorilla, I've had this for a while, but I think this is the SLR model right here. Does a great job, and it holds up the camera. I'm really happy with that. I also have a remote shutter release. Now, if you don't have this, this really isn't required. More often than not, I don't have this with me. I just happen to have it. And what I tend to do if I don't have this with me is just set up the timer on my camera. And if you're not shooting with the Nikon D7000, you don't need to. Most SLRs you can do the same thing with that we're going to do right here. Again, we're talking about the neutral density filter though, so this can be attached to whatever lens you have on whatever body you have. But just keep in mind that you're going to want some kind of tripod here, and with your camera you're going to want to have maybe some kind of remote shutter release, and if you don't have this, you can use the self timer. Sometimes I'll go like 2 seconds on it, and then what that allows you to do is to initiate the shutter, take your hand off the camera, because any kind of jerk or motion will be picked up when you have an extended shutter release. So we're all set. Let's go ahead and step over here and make this happen. This is the waterfall that I was describing moments ago, where I'm at the entrance to a neighborhood here, and we have some traffic kind of out in front, so hopefully it's not too loud, but you can see the water coming over the rock, hopefully, behind me. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab the camera, and I'm going to set my tripod. I might get a little closer here. I might set it up back here, and we're going to dial that in. And what I'm going to do is because it's so bright out right now, I'm probably going to need every bit of that neutral density filter to pull this off. And what I'm shooting for is maybe a 2 or 3 second shutter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my my ISO, dial that way down as far as it'll go, and in my case, it's 100. So I'm going to set it for 100. I'm going to take my aperture and I'm going to bump that to about whatever I got, f22, as high as that thing will go. And then we'll take a reading, and with the neutral density filter at its maximum, we'll see where that puts us. So let's take a look. I'm set up without the neutral density filter at this point. And let's take a look at what a normal shot would look like on a bright sunny day of this water flowing. Right now I'm measuring 1/250th of a second at an f-stop of 6.3. My ISO is 100. Let's go ahead and take a shot and see what it looks like. Okay, as you can see, the water is relatively static. It just doesn't look like it's moving at all. I mean, the shot overall isn't bad, but I want to get that water to look like it's flowing. I want it to look silky. So let's go ahead and put on the neutral density filter, and let's see what we can do. Right now, at an f-stop of 6.3 with an ISO of 100, I'm measuring 1/4 of a second. So we want this to be a lot slower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my f-stop and I'm going to take that way, way, way down. When I move it down to f25, I'm getting 3 seconds. And that's right about what I want to see. If I go to f29, I'm getting 4 seconds. So I like 3. Let's go ahead and do f25. I'm going to shoot 3 seconds. And in order to make that happen, I'm going to use my remote shutter release right here. So I'm going to make a modification to the camera, set it for remote shutter, and we're gonna go ahead and fire. Well, what does this tell you? I think my battery is dead in my remote shutter. I haven't used this in a while, so well, rather than wait around and try to debug it right now, I'm gonna go ahead and use my backup method. I'm gonna put this on a timer, and I have 2 seconds on it. So I move this over to my timer mode, and I'm ready. I'm gonna go ahead and press down my shutter, take my hand off the camera. And there you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's the shot I'm looking for. Nice, silky smooth water flowing over rock. I think it looks awesome. With our neutral density filter attached and our settings dialed in, it's time to have some fun. I hope you found this video useful, and anytime you want to grab a long exposure during the day, just remember, you're going to need something like a neutral density filter. And it doesn't really matter which one you get. You can go with the fixed ones, you can go with the variable ones. In this particular case, I'm using the Zomi, and in the description below, I'll post a link, and that way you'll have some more information about it. But this particular lens right here, again, does use the shot glass. I've done my research on it. It's high quality. This is also an aircraft aluminum ring around it, so it's lightweight, but yet it feels solid. One other notable is that if you do any kind of long exposures, be sure to get a tripod. Now this is just a GorillaPod right here. I've used it for a while. I think it's great. I love how the legs can wrap around just about anything. They're great to have. I have another tripod, which is using the camera. It's being used by the camera that's recording this video. So if you don't have a tripod, just find anything stable. It can be the roof of a car or a rock or whatever you might have. And if you don't have the remote shutter, or you have it but the battery's dead like mine, just use the self timer on your camera. Hit it, take your hands off, and let the camera do its thing. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I appreciate that. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. More often than not, I'm going to post videos about photography and videography. And my channel is called The Real World, because you never know what you might get. So until the next time, take care of yourself and be safe.